like to share with you a brief introduction to mindfulness related to loving kindness. Loving kindness and compassion are very closely related but not identical. Loving kindness has to do with the wish that we have for other people and ourselves to be happy, whereas compassion has more to do with seeing the suffering in others and in ourselves and wishing for us and others not to suffer. So usually we begin with the practice of loving kindness, and as that develops, then later we practice compassion as well. The compassion practice is also very important. We practice loving kindness first towards ourselves, and then towards someone we love, then towards a good friend or relative, then towards a neutral person, then towards even someone who has made us suffer, like someone we might call a troublesome person, difficult person, even an enemy, we might say. And then towards all beings everywhere. I have a little problem with practicing towards all beings everywhere because I always feel like I'm leaving someone out. So I insert another group called a group of people somewhere in the world suffering that have a common kind of issue. It doesn't have to be that they're suffering. It can be towards a group of people who have the same disease or in the same country or even involved in the same activity. Since I'm in St. Louis, we have baseball as our pastime here, so sometimes I will send loving kindness to the St. Louis Cardinals. The practice that we have towards these different groups of people and then towards everyone in the world, all beings, sentient beings, even little insects and animals, is a very deep practice, and it helps us cultivate this feeling so that when we would happen to see a person who is in one of these groups, we would have this immediate sense of caring towards them that would spontaneously arise because we've been practicing so well. So most people develop a normal group of people that they practice with, a kind of default person. So we start with ourselves, obviously the self is the default person, and then we practice towards our dear loved one. If you're a lay person, it might be someone that is in your primary relationship with that person, or a family member, then a good friend. Usually we try to stay with the same person during each meditation session, so we don't change from one friend to the next during that session, because we know we're going to practice later towards another person, perhaps the next day. So these different people that we practice towards, this is very, very helpful to cultivate this feeling. Oh, I care about this person. I don't want them to experience any harm. We say that for each of the qualities like loving kindness and compassion, then there are two other qualities as well as part of what are called the four Brahma-vihara, or the higher states of mind. There's also altruistic joy and equanimity. Those are the other two. That each one of these has what's called a near enemy and a far enemy. The far enemy is the opposite state, the one that we would want to stay far away from. In the Chinese, it says that this far enemy is far away from us and we can see them from a distance on a mountain and we know we can stay away from them. The near enemy is someone who is maybe walking alongside us. We think that this person is our friend at first, and then we realize, oh no, they're leading us astray. This can be a little bit troublesome when we realize that. One day I was traveling with a friend, Bob McClure, who's sea care trained, and we were going to visit a monastery called Metta Forest Monastery. Metta is loving kindness, where Thanissaro Bhikkhu lives. And we were lost along the way, and we passed a casino, and we kept driving and driving. And Bob said to me, he said, "Oh, I understand far enemy. I don't understand near enemy." I said, "Oh, that's easy. Just turn around, we'll go back to the casino, we won't go to the monastery, and we'll spend the entire day gambling and getting drunk." He says, "Oh, now I understand. You're being the near enemy. You look like my friend, but you're leading me astray." Right. Eventually, we found our way to the avocado grove where Metta Forest Monastery is. This near enemy of loving kindness is being overly attached, caring too much, making it more about ourselves than the other person. I care so much about this person, oh, I don't want to let them go. Oh, I love them, but you smother with that love. The far enemy of loving kindness is, of course, ill will, wishing to harm that harm would come to the person. These are some examples. In this practice, there are different formula that we use to say to ourselves to help us go deeper into this practice of loving kindness. Things that we repeat again and again to help us go deeper. Now, the original technique that was done in Southeast Asia, that was brought back by Sharon Salzberg and others during the 1970s, the difficulty of the original technique in Pali and even the translation is that the words mean so much, they're so specialized, that a person would really need to study Buddhism for a long time to understand their meaning. So Sharon Salzberg went to great lengths to translate this in a way that would be easier for us. And we can use our own language as well. We don't have to stick with her formula, but anything close to what it is that she is suggesting is good. She says, may I be safe, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease. And we say this to ourselves as we're one-pointed focused deep into the meditation. Now, I also like very much the Mahayana Formula that goes in an abridged version like this. It's a little bit more specific. May I be free from anger and hatred. May I be free from greed and selfishness. May I be free from fears and anxiety. May I be free from all pain and suffering. May I live peacefully. And then I usually repeat the Sharon Salzberg one again. May I be safe, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease. And I do it slowly so that I can really feel whatever emotions come up, whatever feeling comes up in my body to help me to understand this. Now, when you practice towards a difficult person, you might say, why do I want to send these kinds of messages to a difficult person? Well, there are several reasons. Number one is that if the difficult person could even receive this, maybe they would be less difficult because they're suffering as well. Also, if you send this message to this person, maybe when you see them, you won't have such a strong negative reaction towards them. One of the other reasons is to realize that maybe, oh my goodness, I may be somebody else's difficult person. I hope they practice towards me. So there are different reasons that we do this, to cultivate this deep feeling of loving kindness and compassion. And when you practice this technique again and again every day, sometimes we pick different people, sometimes we stay with the same person. This is something that helps us warm our hearts, soften our hearts, make our heart more moist so that we become generally a person who is more gentle and kind, less prone to anger, and we can then feel a sense of peacefulness within ourselves, even when difficulties arise. So I hope you find this technique valuable. Thank you very much.